AK on my
Trading Addicts, what's up? This is
right
Jeff Kohler,
next to
aka
that
The
Bible.
Option Addict, from over at www.tradingaddicts.com, and also now an official tabbed blogger over at ibankcoin.com. Before we get started, I want to wish a happy Mother's Day out there to all the mothers. And as I dip my toe back into the routine of doing weekly watch list videos, we're going to start off with a little bit of market analysis. We've gotten to that point where we've been in that point. We've got a well-established upward trend. Market's been kind of in runaway mode here. Any little dip seems to get bought in stocks. And what's more important is the lack of volatility. So markets haven't really seen any fast motion. And so those kind of markets, especially when you mix in the seasonality of it all, we usually will call the daily Dow 40, where the Dow will usually fluctuate up or down to the tune of no more than about 40 points. If we get outside of that, then it's something to be concerned about. But as long as the market lacks volatility, we're in that grind mode here. It's an excellent opportunity to be a stock picker. And that's going to be the theme of tonight's activities. Here's a couple of stocks that I'm watching this week where I'm looking for some profit-making opportunities. We're going to start in the materials space, and we're going to look at Walt Energy. Now, for those of you, we've been trading this thing on and off last week. But what I like about this is when you break down the profile here, Walt Energy, as soon as it clears 20, is going to start to push its way back up to the $23 area. In terms of volume profile, there's a really, really thin pocket overhead that takes the stock up to about 23. So you want to be long that. And the other one that I like in this space is Alpha Natural, ticker symbol ANR. This one has yet to really go, but what it's been doing over the last several months is developing a nice little wedge, which, these patterns seem to have been working really, really well in these markets and is about to break out. So I'd be looking at this with a buy stop, somewhere in the vicinity of about 735, 740, looking to take this up over 8 this upcoming week. Over into energy, really like the look of BBG, and not just for the recent price action and how it's been consolidating lately, and you've got a nice little pocket above for this thing to travel pretty swiftly up to about 23.5, but this is also a name in the energy space that has a really high level of short interest in comparison with its peers. So BBG is a name that you want to watch next week as well. A couple others, I'm just going to start flying through these. VHC, which we haven't traded in a while. This thing looks like it's set to make a pretty good sized move. Now, the structure is pretty thin overhead, but that doesn't necessarily mean VHC is going to break to the upside. This is one I could play either way. But the way it's been consolidating here for the last few weeks, looks like it's ready for a pop. In VHC, when it gets going, you could move 10 to 12% in a week, no problem. So VHC is another name that I like. JCPenney's. I love what JCPenney's have been doing here this week. In fact, missed a fill on this on Wednesday, but like the setup here, like it to break back up into this gap overhead. Should see a move pretty close to 1920 is kind of what I'm anticipating. That's a name that I like. BlackBerry, a name that we're already in. Should see some more continued strength this week. Caesars. While we're talking about the casinos, all the casinos have gone up to establish new highs. They've been on fire. Caesars is yet to go, and I kind of like the fact that it hasn't gone yet, and it's been just kind of quietly dialed up around 15, which, in my opinion, if it starts to strengthen early out the gates on Monday, I think you look for a move up to about 16.5, maybe even possibly 17. Caesars is a name that I like. LQDT, this little mail order catalog company. Same thing. I like these little basing patterns down near lows. I like the consolidation, and again, I like the thin space overhead. This isn't a particularly liquid name, and you might not do so well trading options, but for a quick stock play, this thing could get to 37, 38, no problem. We talked earlier this week about some of the solar stocks, WFR and First Solar. You got to look at these on a slightly longer dated chart, but you'll see that there's a really nice base that these things are, rolling up towards. WFR's got the look at the nice inverse head and shoulder pattern, the reversal pattern, and above we're talking. I have to go to a 5-year chart to show you, but the volume pocket extends all the way up just to about 10. So it gets pretty thin overhead. If the solars continue to show strength, which I think you look at WFR, you look at First Solar, but these volume pockets overhead are considerable, and it wouldn't take much to get these stocks, really into a good size short covering rally, especially First Solar. Nothing standing in the stock's way of getting back up to 100. Those are a couple of names that I love. I think I've hit all those. In terms of financials, I'd buy Goldman here into a little bit of weakness. Love the look of Goldman on the short-term graph. Higher highs, higher lows, looking to break this base and get back up towards its highs. Should be something I think that happens over the remainder of the month. And then some of the small cap names that I like. Parker, PRKR in semiconductors, which looks ready to go. Zynga, ZNGA, which we haven't traded in a little while, but this thing looks ready to go this week. And last but not least, in the REITs, B, Strategic Hotels. This is another industry, another group that I love just because of the structure. These are stocks that have an incredible amount of upside when you break it down to volume pocket analysis. So that and Facebook's also on my radar, which it usually is. But those are some of the names that I got this week, guys. Keep in mind, not a big list. Market's been up for the last several days, pretty extended. A lot of stocks have followed suit, so the action points are not going to be as easy to manage. But I think with the list we've got here, we've got some decent reference points, we've got some decent patterns, and therefore we should be able to turn some decent profits. So appreciate you watching the watch list tonight. Hope you make a few bucks in the market this week. This has been The Option Addict. That's been my watch list. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome week.